Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Pressure by Brian Keene. This is from Thomas Dunn Books slash St. Martin's Press, and I do believe this is the first mass market hardcover from Brian Keene, which is pretty exciting. So, Pressure, in the tropics, off the tropical island of Mauritius. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but anyway, off this tropical island, the ocean floor is collapsing, essentially. Just crap going on down there. They call it the mouth of hell because it's just getting deeper and deeper. Everything's collapsing, changing the ecology, all that stuff. So there's all these people investigating it. Our main character is Carrie Anderson, and she is a world-class diver and a marine biologist, and she's working for Alpinus Biofutures. They've hired her, sort of a freelancer. They've hired her to dive down and check out what's going on. So when the book starts, she and another diver are down in the water checking out what's happening. Things go wrong, and she ends up in the hospital. When she gets out, she decides she needs to investigate further kind of on her own. So she goes to her buddy Abi and tells him to get a boat, and they're going to do all this. She runs into an ex-lover named Paolo, and he joins her. They go to investigate what's happening in the ocean, and all hell breaks loose. And I think that's all I'm going to say about the plot at the moment. So, big Brian Keene fan, and this, I think, is something a little different from him. Now, right off the bat, it does have those little ties to all of his other work. Everything he writes takes place in sort of a shared multiverse, I suppose is the best way to put it. So his short stories, his novels, anything, there's always at least one little thing that's going to connect it somehow to everything else. And there is something in this. Now, if you're a fan of Brian Keene, it's always fun to find these things. If you're not a fan, it's just not something you're going to notice. It's not something that's going to hit you in the face and pull you out of the story. It's just going to be part of the story. But always fun to find those little things. So reading this, to me, it felt very much like streamlined Michael Crichton or early James Rollins. Streamlined early James Rollins. You can see it's not a thick book. It's only a couple of hundred pages. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, it's only about 260 some pages, 276 pages. So it's not a huge book. And it moves at a very quick pace. There's a lot of stuff going on. But it has that Michael Crichton, James Rollins, some of Preston and Child's non-Pendergast books, where it's a horror novel slash techno thriller, I suppose. Techno horror, maybe you could call it that. Because there is something down there in the ocean. Something very scary. But then there's also all sorts of industrial espionage type stuff going on. Maybe industrial espionage isn't quite. How about industrial shenanigans going on? Carrie Anderson and her friends kind of get in over their heads. The book is broken up into two parts. The first part is As Below, and the second part is So Above. Or is it So Below, As Above? Let's see, As Below, so Above would be the second part. So the first part really is dealing with what's going on in the ocean, the terrors beneath the waves, as it were. And then the second part is sort of the repercussions of what's happened, what's going on. And it very much a mix, a well-balanced mix of horror and thriller. Um, just I love Brian Keene's style. It's very straightforward. Um, it's very violent and bloody at parts. So it's again very Brian Keene, very much horror. And then I don't know that he's. I'd really have to take a look to see if there's anything else I've read by him that really moves into that sort of thriller category that this book does move into. It's an interesting melding of two genres, but it is interesting. It's very well written. It's very exciting, but be prepared for two types of genres mixed together. I mean, I wouldn't call it a mashup, but it is very. There are parts that are very distinctly horror, and parts that are very distinctly thriller. Um, but I love all of it. The characters, as always, are fantastic. I like Abby a lot. He's a really fun character. Um, Carrie Anderson, a great complex character. Uh, Paolo, not such a great guy, but he feels kind of sleazy. Um, again, he's an ex-lover of Carrie, so there's really some complications with the two of them working together. But he's a very interesting character. Um, and there's a at one point they go out on a ship, basically a ship of mercenaries that have been hired by Alpinus, however you say it, Alpinus Biofutures. The captain, very fun character, um, and we don't really get to know his crew. They're there, but the captain I really liked a lot. So, I mean, as always, Brian Keene is very, very good at writing characters, very interesting characters. And even if they're um, not main characters, he gives them personality, he gives them some depth. Uh, which, as you know, I look for. I want character. Um, so, there was something else I was going to mention, and I've forgotten what it was because this heat is just frying my brain. It's very hot out right now. Um, but so that's pressure, I suppose, in a nutshell. Something to do with Carrie, Alpinus Biofutures. See, now it's going to bug me so I can remember what it was I wanted to say. Um, I'm not sure. Just a great book. I'll share my rating here. Um, and it's I give Pressure by Brian Keene 5 out of 5 tentacles. Um, my little cartoony tentacles there. I thought about going 8 out of 8 because 8 tentacles makes sense, but my rating system is out of 5. So, and then I thought about drawing 3 stumps. So but then that would sort of imply there was 5 out of 8. So I just went with 5 out of 5 tentacles. Um, it's a quick, fun, thrilling, scary read. Basically everything you're looking for in a nice summer book. It's, as I mentioned, it's very hot right now. Almost too hot. It's a draining heat. Um, Almost too hot to read. So I'm glad I was able to pick this up and read it before it got so freaking hot. The heat index, I think, is over 100. Um, but if it's a nice summer day, this is the perfect. I love reading something like this on a nice, it's like maybe 72 with a little breeze. Sit outside, read something like this. Just a fun, thrilling, scary book. Lots of violence and gore and twists and turns and surprises. Lots of surprises in here that I'm not going to spoil for you. So I mean that's what you've got is Pressure by Brian Keene from Thomas and Dunn / St. Martin's. 5 out of 5 tentacles. I'm gonna show you my tentacles again because I like them. I like the coloring I did. They're simple, but they get the point across. So that's it. I will have a link or two for the book in the description below. Although this one, unlike a lot of the stuff I review, this one you can find at your local bookstore, hopefully. I mean, they're carrying it at Barnes & Noble, and which, again, I'm happy for Brian Keene that his stuff is out there. Um, but I will have links for it in the description down below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I think that covers it. So this has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been a very hot and tired Eric Smith. And until next time, read more books.